Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at, well, a really stunning blueprint for how trust and kindness can work, almost like an economy. It comes from a narrative called Your Deming Zanjiri, which translates to the chain of assistance.
Exactly. And this isn't just, a nice story. It's more like a structural look at how kindness builds what we sometimes call social trust capital.
Hmm.
Our goal here really is to show you through this one story how selfless acts can trigger this almost invisible network effect that eventually sometimes loops right back.
It sounds like generalized reciprocity in action, yeah.
That's precisely it.
Okay, so let's get into the setup. It starts pretty dramatically, right? We have this wealthy woman, someone who's used to things working, used to being in control,
Hmm.
and she's driving her expensive car, very high tech apparently, on this empty highway late at night, and then boom, it breaks down. And it's
Yeah.
so complex that, mechanics won't even come out.
Right. Darkness falls. The road's deserted,
Hmm.
maybe even dangerous. She's completely stuck.
Yeah, totally alone. All that status, the money, suddenly means nothing out there.
Absolutely. It's that classic scenario where high status gets completely nullified by, well, sheer necessity. Her resources are useless.
Mm.
She's basically forced to rely on, well, the kindness of a stranger, maybe for the first time in a long while.
Okay, so she's there, probably panicking a bit.
You'd imagine so.
When this old beat-up car pulls over, the contrast couldn't be clearer. And the driver is this young man, Ahmad, dressed pretty simply.
And this is where her internal conflict kicks in immediately. The source makes it quite clear. Her mind jumps straight to prejudice.
Those negative thoughts like, he's poor, maybe he's dangerous, maybe he'll try to exploit me, that type of thing.
Exactly that. That tension, the fear versus the desperate need for help, that's really defining her vulnerability right then.
But she doesn't really have a choice, does she? She has to get in the car.
No choice at all.
And then Ahmad, he just sort of subverts all those expectations she had. He says he's a private taxi driver, but he's calm, polite.
Yeah, the source really emphasizes his demeanor. Modest, well-mannered, respectful. He doesn't pry, doesn't linger on her distress, just, provides the help she needs. Kept his eyes on the road.
He treats her like a person who needs help, not like an opportunity.
Precisely. And that neutrality, that respect, it's crucial. It starts to break down her prejudice and build that initial bit of trust. That's the currency here.
So they finally get to the city. She's safe, hugely relieved, I imagine.
Immensely relieved.
And she asks the obvious question, right? How much do I owe you?
And here's the pivot. This is where the whole sort of economic expectation just gets flipped on its head. Most of us think in terms of direct reciprocity. I pay you, you give me a service. End of story.
But Ahmad rejects that.
Completely. He apparently smiles and gives this core reason. It's quite profound, actually.
What exactly did he say? What was the logic?
He tells her something like, look, you got in my car because you needed help, not because you wanted a ride. If your car hadn't broken down, you wouldn't be here.
Hmm.
So I'm not taking any money from you.
Wow, so he sees the circumstance, not the transaction.
Exactly. He sees his role as, well, maybe providential, definitely not commercial in that moment.
But he does ask for something, right? Not money, but this is the condition that starts the chain.
Yes, that's the key. He demands she engage in that generalized reciprocity we mentioned.
Okay, so what's the condition?
It's simple, but powerful. He just says, if you see someone else in trouble, help them. That's it. That's all I ask.
So not pay me back later, but pay it forward.
Precisely. He's not asking for a return favor to him. He's demanding an investment into the wider social trust network, you could say.
And for the woman who's probably used to just paying for things, settling debts financially.
It's stunning for her. Suddenly she's got this moral obligation instead of a financial one. She leaves not with a receipt,
Right.
but with the weight of this condition, this kind of social debt she now owes.
That's a really clever distinction. He basically guarantees his help creates more help down the line instead of just ending there.
Ingenious, really. It bypasses the risk that she'd just, forget about it once she was safe and comfortable again.
Okay, so let's fast forward. A few days later, the situation's totally different. The wealthy woman is comfortable, back in her element, maybe in a coffee shop.
Right. The immediate crisis is over.
Right.
But the source suggests that that moral debt, that condition Ahmad set, it's still kind of lingering in her mind.
And then she notices the waitress. This is where her experience maybe makes her see things differently.
It seems so. She notices the waitress is really struggling, pale, very pregnant, clearly working when she probably shouldn't be. The woman actually asks her why she's working so close to her due date.
Okay.
And the waitress explains, it's desperate. They urgently need the money. She has to work while she physically can. It perfectly sets up the next link. Real need meets this outstanding moral obligation.
And the woman connects the dots. She remembers Ahmad.
Explicitly. The source says she remembers his words. If you see someone in trouble, help them. And she realizes, okay, this is the moment. This is how I discharge that debt.
So it's not just random kindness. It's fulfilling the contract, essentially.
Exactly. It's a required payment, but made into the system Ahmad created, not back to him. And what's really fascinating is how she does it.
Tell us.
Well, because she couldn't pay Ahmad directly. All that relief and gratitude, maybe even the money she would have paid him. It gets channeled to this waitress, but amplified. She pays for her coffee, hands the waitress some money, quite a bit it turns out, and leaves quickly. No explanation.
She's not looking for thanks. She's just settling the score with the universe, so to speak.
Pretty much clearing her moral slate.
And the waitress, when she realizes what's happened.
It's overwhelming. She finds this folded piece of paper later, and under it is a note. This is for your baby. And with it, a substantial amount of cash.
Oh, substantial.
The source says it was equivalent to 6 months of her wages.
Wow. 6 months.
Yeah. So this wasn't just a generous tip. This was, as the source puts it, salvation. Didn't just cover the immediate need. It addressed that deeper fear, securing things for the baby, easing that pressure.
That scale. It says something about the perceived value of the rescue she received, doesn't it? She paid back that moral debt with significant interest into the network.
Absolutely. She wasn't just paying for coffee. She was, in a way, paying back for her life being saved on that dark road.
Okay, so the waitress gets this windfall. What happens next?
Well, she's just overcome her.
Right.
Pure joy, relief. She rushes home to tell her husband about this miracle, this anonymous gift that just changed everything for them.
And the husband.
There's this brief moment of tension. He sees how emotional she is, maybe frantic, and his first thought is, oh no, she's gone into labor early.
Ah, okay. Understandable.
And then she managed to explain where the money came from, this incredible act of kindness from a stranger. And you just fall silent.
The penny drops.
The penny drops. This
Wow.
time. The silence. It's the moment of revelation. Because the waitress's husband was Ahmad.
No way.
Yes, the taxi driver. The one who started the whole chain just a few days before. The network delivered.
So it came full circle. But indirectly. The help he gave out came back not to him, but for him, through his family.
Exactly. It landed anonymously, right where his family needed it most, at their point of deepest vulnerability. He couldn't even take credit for it if he wanted to.
That's why the story works as this sort of perfect case study in how these networks function, right? Ahmad giving up the fare wasn't just nice, it was necessary for this outcome.
Absolutely critical. If he'd taken the money, the transaction's closed. Done. By demanding she help someone else, he essentially forced that value, that potential wealth, out of his direct reach and into the network.
And the network somehow directed it to the point of greatest need.
Which just happened to be his own family. It's like the system itself calculated the optimal distribution point for maximum impact.
It's kind of the ultimate defense against being exploited, too.
Yeah.
You give selflessly, and the reward, if it comes back clean, without strings, just when it's needed.
And think about it in terms of, say, behavioral economics. Ahmad made an investment of social capital. He created a high-value moral obligation, high value because of her wealth and sheer relief. When she discharged that debt,
The return was huge.
monumental.
Yeah.
6-month wages compared to a taxi fare. It shows that this kind of selfless commitment to the chain, to the principle, can yield vastly more than a simple direct transaction ever could.
It reframed selflessness then. It's not just being nice. It's like making a high-trust deposit into the human ecosystem.
Exactly. Trusting the system to circulate that value effectively.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means it comes back to ensure your own survival or the survival of those you care about.
Okay, so wrapping this deep dive up. Your Deming Zanjiri gives us this incredibly clear model. You start with a selfless act tied to a condition to pay it forward. That leads to an anonymous, significant act of generosity fulfilling that condition.
Right.
And somehow, the value finds its way back to the originator's own family, meeting a profound need.
It really illustrates that when you invest in this kind of generalized reciprocity, you detach the immediate reward from yourself, but you potentially maximize the benefit for the whole system. And since you're part of that system,
Like the biggest impact might just land back in your own life, yeah. Through some channel you never expected, solving a problem you didn't even know was connected.
precisely.
Which leaves us with that final thought, maybe a bit provocative, about this whole chain of assistance idea. If Ahmad's single decision, that one act of integrity, could engineer such a massive return for his family just days later, how often could these complex beneficial chains be operating all around us, completely unseen?
Right. And maybe more pointedly for you listening, if you started a chain like this today, if you helped someone and just asked them to help someone else down the line instead of repaying you,
Mm.
what kind of impossible to trace ripple effect, what potential miracle might you be setting in motion? For a stranger, maybe? Or maybe even eventually for yourself?
Definitely something to think about. That's all the time we have for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.